So they say there's no such thing as bad press, but a company here in the DeFi space, decentralized finance, over on Solana called Solend will prove us wrong. Due to the fact over the last 48 hours, this one has been hitting all the headlines for the wrong reason, even being covered by CNBC. And so we're going to dive into what's been going on with Solend here and why this kind of, viral campaign that they've got going on is not a good one. And we'll probably see them eventually going down due to the fact there's going to be zero trust in them. And this has sparked comments from people on Twitter such as this message to the Solend protocol devs. I am effing begging you not to do this. I know you're scared. I know your VCs are pressuring you. I know some of your Solend bag holders are pressuring you, but this is flat out wrong and you know that. So what has been going on and why has such controversy been sparked? So this is all about the cascading potential of liquidations. So liquidation is something we've been, familiarized with over the past week. It's been a crazy week in crypto. And here we have this one pointed out here by Miles Ducha. Sol Whale via Solend protocol holding 5.7 million Sol tokens at a value of $22.30. 160 mil was the deposit. If it breaks below this, they will actually start to be liquidated. So this is the intriguing one we're looking at here. So this guy, the whale, deposits $160 million worth of Solana at that price point, $22.30, and borrows with that $108 million in a combination of USDT and USDC, mainly USDC. So this is the actual print here, 106 mil in USDC, 1,500,000 in USDT. So one of the biggest utilizers of the actual Solend protocol here. So as this position creeps closer to liquidation, and it was very close over the past 48 hours, we saw Solana down to around $25. This began to trigger fears that users' funds could be at risk. Due to the fact, Solana's had a lot of outages as of late, a lot of instability, and so potentially users could be, at the mercy of a liquidation event, on the hook here. So user funds could be vulnerable due to high slippage. So in response to this, the Solend protocol, they tried to reach out to the whale, but had no luck here. There was no conversation that was able to be opened up, and there was no on-chain activity for the whale over the last 12, 13 days as it is right now. So they were claiming, the team here, the whale will always represent a systemic risk to Solend and its users, and also that letting a liquidation of this size happen on-chain is too risky. So in response to this, they created a public proposal. So this is a DAO vote, DAO standing for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. The word decentralized here becoming a bit of a mockery. So the proposal was met with vast public backlash, as many claimed that the intervention directly combats the essence of decentralization. So you had a bit of kickback from Emir, from AVAX, and even Kobe here labeled this comedy on a tweet. So Solend 1, the first governance proposal for the Solend DAO, has been proposed here. And what is the proposal? Well, essentially, grant emergency power to Solend Labs to temporarily take over the whale's account so the liquidation can be executed OTC and avoid pushing Solana to its limits. So they wanted to liquidate him. This would be done via a smart contract upgrade. Emergency powers will be revoked once the whale's account reaches a safe level, i.e., well, we heard the term, not your keys, not your crypto. Well, your keys, but our crypto in this sense. They were going to upgrade the smart contracts to take over the user's funds. So this is a crazy, crazy situation. And if we learned anything over the last week or so, it's that we need more transparency in the crypto space, and we need to adhere to the ethics behind these kind of things. If there is systemic risk in the system, maybe the leverage just needs to be flushed out and people need to take the hit. It is, after all, what we're getting involved with here. So even though there was huge public backlash to this due to the fact zero decentralization, people were very annoyed by it. 97.5% of the votes were a yes. However, this is where the plot thickens. Solana-based Solend DAO passes its first vote One that obviously most people thought shouldn't go through due to the fact it's just totally against decentralization and that ethos. But the proposal passes with 1.1 million yeas and 30,000 nays. But one individual voter had 1 million of the yes votes. And apparently, in just 24 hours, a DAO was spun up to actually help, sway the vote here. And it's been speculated that is the team behind this protocol or some group of VCs. So in essence, the vote is a bit of a mockery here. So that was approved, going against the full ethos of decentralization and, taking over this guy's funds. And if we just look at the numbers behind it, so it turns out that over 90% of the votes were issued by the single user, potentially that DAO that was spun up. And the vote was only worth 700 grand. So Hasaka puts this, the vote worth 1 million tokens at roughly 70 cents per Solend token, value 700K. This made up 90% of the total votes, and it decided the fate of $270 million in users' assets. Welcome to governance, as he states down here. So a real mockery and a huge cock-up in the crypto landscape, really. This is kind of embarrassing to read through and just see what was happening here. So this was the Solend 1 proposal to actually take over the whale's funds here. But if you do read through this and the highlighted areas that I've got here, you can see that the team was really, really scared here. This is kind of obvious from this. If Sol drops to $22.30, the whale's account becomes liquidatable for up to 20% of their borrows. So that would be a roughly $21 million. And that is due to the parameters that are set within the smart contracts. And it would be difficult for the market to absorb such an impact since liquidators generally market sell on DEXs. And in the Solana ecosystem, the DEX's liquidity is pretty dry right now. I'm even seeing some people suggest that it could drive the price of Solana down to zero on these DEXs due to the lack of liquidity on them. So this was the terrifying impact that this could have. So of course you could see that they were scared. But this was the wrong proposal to put forward anyway. So in the worst case scenario, Solend could end up with bad debt, and this could cause chaos, putting a strain on the Solana network. Liquidators would be especially active and spamming the liquidate function, which has been known to be a factor causing Solana to go down in the past. And due to concerns about risk, many users have withdrawn, causing USDC and USDT utilization in the main pool to spike to 100%. So general users of the protocol at this point, like normal depositors like me and you, non-whales, those guys weren't able to withdraw and still can't withdraw, and positions collateralized by USDC or USDT can't be liquidated. So this really put the whole protocol into serious jeopardy here. So this is the reason for their panic and the reason for this outrageous proposal. But as we can see, this passed with a yes vote. But here comes chapter 2, the twist in the tail. So after that one, that vote passing roughly, less than 24 hours later, Solend then puts up another governance proposal, which invalidates the first proposal. So what is the point of having a DAO when you're not even adhering to the DAO votes, and you're going to flip-flop back and forth between the two options within a 24-hour period? This just makes a whole mockery of absolutely everything. Yes, they have kind of done the right thing after doing the wrong thing initially, but it's just totally against decentralization. It makes a mockery of the DAO, and this can have zero confidence for new users coming to Solend and utilizing it in the future. Who the heck would want to put their money on this after what has unfolded here? So this has done the rounds here with Proposal 2. Proposal 2, the reason that they actually put this one forward was this: the price of Sol has been steadily increasing, buying us some time to gather more feedback and consider alternatives. The first vote was put up, and the actual governance voting time was just 6 hours. So in Proposal 2 here, they increased from 6 hours to 24 hours, which is still a very short time period due to the fact, people have lives. But on the first proposal, which is clearly a botched proposal and one that the team potentially or VCs just pumped through, had a 6-hour window of being open, and the actual voting site was down for 3 of those. So, when you smell a rat, it usually is a rat. But proposal 2 invalidated proposal 1. And then what happened after this? We've now got proposal 3, which is currently open, ending in around 16 hours from now. So this is the current proposal, and this is probably the one that they should have just put as proposal number 1 and saved themselves a huge headache with all of these issues coming out and, airing the dirty laundry. So the Solend whale situation is continuing to impose a heavy strain on Solend users. Users still can't withdraw USDC, and positions collateralized by USDC can't be liquidated, and there's still systemic risk on Solend. So this is their proposal now to introduce a per account borrow limit of $50 million. Any debt above this limit will be eligible for liquidation regardless of collateral value. They're going to roll this out gradually, starting with the per account borrow limit at 120 million and then reducing it down until 50 mil is reached. And that will be on the basis of potentially $500,000 per hour. A reduction would be taken down from there. So this would, after a good few hours here, start to hit the threshold of that whale, and it sounds like they want to start liquidating this individual. So still not a great proposal, but better than what they initially set out to do. They will also temporarily reduce the maximum liquidation close factor from 20% to just 1%, and this caps the amount that can be liquidated in a single transaction, hopefully to stop any cascading liquidations from occurring. There's not going to be a lot of liquidity on the order books on these DEXs on Solana right now, so they don't want to cause any price impacts. And then finally, to temporarily reduce the liquidation penalty for Sol from 5% to 2% in order to reduce liquidator spam, while still being enough of a bonus for liquidators to break even on slippage. So that looks like this is going to be passed through unless we have a big voter come through and spoil it all here. But many twists and turns still to be potentially played out in this story. It wouldn't surprise me if a no comes through last minute or something. But this user had the most sensible comment here: a fair compromise given the potential for an otherwise messy situation. This will allow for an orderly liquidation and decreased volatility, which will be beneficial to the average retail holder. The potential for a user to split their borrow balance, however, into different accounts will still remain, but on-chain liquidity will continue to improve over time, as well as liquidation mechanisms. And if you remember Kujira that we've talked about on this show before, Kujira is a liquidation protocol. This is the kind of thing that maybe should be tapping into Solana, and so individuals could start to process liquidations, buy up liquidated assets, etc. I think that would be a good use case for them here on the Sol ecosystem. But that is pretty much the tale of the tape here for Solend as it stands right now. This is the most up-to-date overview that you're going to find here, and you can see that the yellow line down here is at $22.30. So this is the whale's liquidation price. As you can see, quite a ways away from that right now. There's also some speculation that maybe the Alameda guys, SBF and team, who are huge backers of Solana, don't want this ecosystem to have any more troubles and maybe are bidding up the price of Solana. That could be pure conjecture and speculation, but I'm seeing a lot of people start to mention that right now and trying to buy some breathing space within this whole saga. So that is it from today's video. That is the issues currently ongoing with Solend. If you enjoyed this update, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, help me out, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.